Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Donna Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to a musical celebration of 125 years of pharmacy at Ferris State University. This afternoon, under the direction of Dr. Scott Cohen and Dr. Dale Skornia, the West Central Concert Band, the Symphony Band, and the West Central Chamber Orchestra will take you on a musical journey. A journey that spans the history of pharmacy from antiquity to the present, including important moments at the FSU College of Pharmacy. Joining us as special guests are, first, Dr. Stephen Durst, Dean of the College of Pharmacy, Dr. Richard Hope, who is FSU Professor Emeritus and FSU College of Pharmacy, class of 1968, Mr. Jim Bach, who is FSU College of Pharmacy, class of 1966, and Rachel Kahulik, who is second-year pharmacy student and FSU College of Pharmacy, class of 2021. Now, you'll also hear a musical world premiere commissioned by FSU College of Pharmacy from FSU Professor Emeritus Harry Dempsey for this special concert. Now, to kick off this musical celebration, we present the combined musicians of the West Central Concert Band, the Symphony Band, and the West Central Chamber Orchestra, performing Scott Cohen's Fanfare 125 that was originally written for the 125th anniversary for the founding of Ferris University, and that was in 2010. Now, it's being repurposed today to commemorate the same milestone for the College of Pharmacy. Listen for the chimes and the timpani as they ring out in the first, second, and fifth notes of the scale to symbolize the numbers 1, 2, 5 of our celebrated anniversary. And so now, will you please all welcome today's performers under the batons of Drs. Cohen and Skornia with Fanfare 125. Will you join me in welcoming them all? Dr. Stephen Durst became Dean of the FSU College of Pharmacy on December 5th, 2011, after serving as interim dean for 1 year. He replaced retiring Dean Dr. Ian Matheson. Dr. Durst first came to FSU in 1986 as a professor of pharmacy, and he holds a Bachelor of Science degree of pharmacy from Ferris, and he has earned his doctorate of pharmacy from the University of Michigan. And he's been a Michigan licensed pharmacist since 1981. Will you please welcome Dr. Stephen Durst, Dean of the FSU College of Pharmacy, to provide us some remarks on the opening of our concert.
Thank you, Donna. Let me first begin with truly a heartfelt, and I know that's kind of redundant, but truly a heartfelt thank you to the many individuals that have made this concert possible. It's truly a team effort, and I greatly appreciate it. Doctors Cohen and Skornia, they were able to take this very nebulous concept that I had about celebrating the college's 125th anniversary through music and somehow turn it into what will be today a fantastic concert. Mary Kay McIver, Melinda Isler, Franklin Hughes, and all the members of the University History Task Force, through their work, we've gained an appreciation of the college, the college's history, the college's success, and the influential role the college has played in this amazing university over the past now 125 years. In fact, they are in the library, or in the lobby this afternoon, and please stop by and take a look at some of the commemorative buttons they've put together, including the one celebrating the 125th anniversary. I also want to make a special thanks and recognize Jeff Gabalis for his outstanding work in assembling the visuals you will see today that document the college's history. Jeff's extraordinary work for the College of Pharmacy goes way back to an event that him and I often remember, and Jeff is just one of the most committed people I know. I also want to acknowledge the outstanding support received here by the Williams Auditorium staff, and a special thanks to Anya, Kate, Bob, and Wes, our videographer. As Mrs. Smith announced, we have two exceptional graduates as well as an exceptional student with us today. Dr. Holt, Mr. Bach, and our student Rachel Krahulik will be sharing their perspectives of the college and the intersection of their musical interests, and I truly thank them for their willingness to be part of today's celebration. They agreed to do this without really knowing what it would amount to. In addition, I'm sure there are a few College of Pharmacy alumni in the audience, and although it looks pretty dark out there, I'd ask you to stand and be recognized, and we'll all applaud even if we can't see you. Of course, my thanks wouldn't be complete unless I especially recognized Harry Dempsey and let him know how I look forward to the world premiere of his commissioned work. When we look back over the 125 years, there are really two individuals that we owe today to. That's Woodbridge and Ferris and Marius Perez. The college began with a request from Mr. Perez to Mr. Ferris, requesting Mr. Ferris's assistance to help him prepare for the registration exam for pharmacy. That's how it started, a 6-week kind of immersion course in pharmacy. From that very humble beginning, the College of Pharmacy now exists as one of the nation's oldest and most respected pharmacy programs. For the past 125 years, thousands of student pharmacists have entered the pharmacy profession by starting their lifelong learning here at Ferris in Big Rapids. Literally hundreds of faculty members have established careers in academic pharmacy in the College of Pharmacy. And we have over 7,000 living alumni members that demonstrate their pride in the college through their commitment to the program and its students. Alumni such as Phil Hagerman, Jeff Rowe, Dwayne Robinson, Adele Mackey, and Jim Bach, and many others have engaged the college to ensure its success for the next 125 years. There's no doubt that Mr. Ferris, Mr. Perez would be very proud of what their initial conversation and that 6-week program has grown into. Although the concert brings a close to the celebration of the college's 125th anniversary, today it's really a celebration of the beginning of our next 125 years. They will be marked by academic excellence in pharmacy and the college's influential role in the future of the pharmacy profession. Most importantly, it will be a period of great engagement for the college with its students, its faculty, its alumni, and the global community. My thanks to each of you for joining us today. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Durst. Pharmacy has been with human beings in one form or another since the prehistoric times. The great empires of the ancient worlds of Egypt, China, Greece, Rome, and Persia all left us legacies of their knowledge of using nature to help alleviate human maladies. One of the most noteworthy individuals from the ancient world was Galen. Born in Asia Minor in 130 AD, his thoughts dominated medical philosophy for the next 1,500 years. An influential descendant of Galen's tradition was Avicenna. He is known today as the Persian Galen. He lived around the year 1000 AD during the Islamic Golden Age, and he also possessed incredible knowledge of a pharmacy, a philosophy, astronomy, and poetry. It is believed that he wrote about 450 works, with some 40 of them pertaining to medicine and pharmacy, which are still merged and were merged together in those days. To musically honor these masters of the ancient world, the West Central Chamber Orchestra now performs Jerry Wolstenholme's Persian Passage, published in 2007. Wolstenholme's inspiration for this composition began in 1996 when he traveled to Israel, Egypt, and Jordan with the Brigham Young University Chamber Orchestra. While on tour, he experienced the unique musical sounds of these countries. And you'll hear the musical impact of these sounds, including the use of various percussion instruments, especially those crafted from metal. And now, here is the WCCO with Persian Passage.
Yeah, we're waiting here for Dr. Skornia to join me here. It's the final concert of the school year. Every year we like to acknowledge our graduating students or students who are finishing their time here on campus before either graduating or going on to internships in many, many different fields of the various and multitude of majors that we have here at Ferris. So we're going to start off today, and you'll see them all wearing these beautiful boutonnieres that we provided with them. And we are going to do 5 or 6. We're going to do this in 3 batches because we've got 16 people we need to acknowledge, and we're going to do it quickly, but it's important for us to do that. We're actually going to start out with a young man who's graduating from Crossroads Charter Academy here, a senior in high school. So we're going to ask all these people to come and stand up in front as I call their names. So Casey, if you wouldn't mind joining us. Casey Gabales up in front. Casey is from here in Big Rapids, and he's been playing with our summer band and with the WCCB here for 3 years and 4 years with the summer band for a total of 7 semesters worth of participation with us. His favorite memories include playing the Stars and Stripes Forever with the 4th of July concerts with the summer band, and he's going to be moving to pursue college at another university up north, Michigan Tech, in environmental engineering, and he's going to be hugely successful. So please join me in congratulating Casey Gabales.
Okay, if Emily Salisbury could come forward. Emily is from Adrian, and her major is advertising and integrated marketing communication. She's been in the percussion section of the symphony band for three semesters, and for the athletic pep band for 8. And her favorite memory is traveling to all the places that the pep band has went for all of the championships and friendships. And she has a job here in Big Rapids. She's going to be working with Angels in Action as a marketing and event planning person. If Andrew Hartung would come up. And Andrew will be receiving a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and his minor is forensics. Andrew is from Muskegon, and in the bands he's played tenor and baritone saxophones. He has 1 semester with the summer band, 2 semesters with the WCCB, a symphony band for 3 semesters, and 10 semesters with the athletic pep band. That's a total of 16. And his favorite memory is conducting the first national championship fight song and meeting his fiancée, who was to his direct right. I think that's where she was standing. So yes, they are getting married, and he's going to join the police academy and continue working as a police officer with the Big Rapids Department of Public Safety. And joining us just for this year is Taylor Malley. If he could come forward. He is an integrative studies major. He comes from us from the Shelby Township. This is his first year with the band playing alto saxophone. So 1 semester with WCCB, 2 semesters with the symphony band, and 2 semesters with the pep band. His favorite memory, he tells me, is I just get to play my saxophone again. And he has a job, I think, in the Detroit area working in automotive design.
Next up, we have Kayla Leach in the trumpet section. Kayla's from Manistee. She has played 2 semesters with the WCCB and 4 with the symphony band for a total of 6 semesters. Her favorite memories include getting to know her fellow band geeks and playing in the Symphonic Santa concerts. In her future plans, she says, I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants until a dental hygiene job comes my way. So if you're looking for a dental hygienist, here she is.
And if Morgan Henderson could come forward. I'm trying to remember, Morgan, where are you from? Okay, she's from Livonia. She has 1 semester with WCCB, 3 semesters with the Symphony Band, and her favorite memory was when the Symphony Band last fall played Comic Tattoo, which is where at one point you just kind of get up and start to leave, and nothing's left on stage, including myself, got chased off the stage. And she will be continuing in the fall in the College of Pharmacy. Right now, she will have a Bachelor of Science of Biology.
After completing pharmacy training in Bonn, Germany, Nicholas Johann von Beethoven moved with his older brother Ludwig to Vienna in 1775, and he worked as a pharmacist's assistant. Later, in 1808, during the Napoleonic Wars in Europe, he bought an apothecary shop in Linz, Austria. The very next year, in 1809, Napoleon took over Vienna and established a base camp in Linz. That's where he sent all of his wounded soldiers. Beethoven's apothecary shop was located at the right place, at the right time, and it supplied all of Napoleon's medical needs. Now, in case you're wondering, his older brother Ludwig is indeed the famed composer Ludwig van Beethoven. Beethoven's admiration of traditional dance and music was immense. At the age of 25, he composed a set of 12 German dances. So now, in honor of Beethoven's pharmacist brother, Nicholas, the FSU West Central Chamber Orchestra will play Ludwig van Beethoven's German Dance 2, a delightful waltz containing both light and rustic themes.
All right, we're back for round two of our graduating seniors here. The next person we'd like to recognize is Tess Schultz from our trombone section. Tess is from Deckerville, and she played 1 semester in the pep band, 6 semesters with the WCCB, 6 semesters with the symphony band for a total of 13 semesters. And among her favorite memories while Ferris is traveling to Germany, Hawaii, Japan, and Chicago with the Michigan Lions Band, and be able to stick with band because it takes you places. I can subscribe to that as well. Her future plans include going to Indiana University this fall in optometry. Congratulations, Tess. Next, from the string section, is Sarah Massey. Sarah is from Saline, and she's played with the orchestra for all 8 semesters. She's played in 4 pit orchestra shows, and she even played with their summer band for 2 summers. Among her favorite memories are playing with the pit orchestra and getting to play Baby Elephant Walk with her parents, a little arrangement I did for them, a very musical family. That was a lot of fun. She is Her future plans include hopefully doing public relations for an orchestra somewhere here in this country. So we wish her luck, and congratulations very much, Sarah.
Next is Rachel Greenia, and her degree is in social work. And Rachel is from Columbus, and she's in our trumpet section. She's been a member of the pep band for 8 semesters, the symphony band for 8 semesters for a total of 16. And her favorite memory is going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota just a little over a year ago when our FSU men's basketball team won the Division II National Championship. Go Bulldogs. And it looks like she might be back because she's going to start a Master's of Social Work at FSU this fall. So congratulations. Next up is Elisha Parsons. He will have a degree, Masters of Information Security and in Intelligence. He is from Holly, and whenever he's been here, he's either played clarinet or bass clarinet. He has 10 semesters with the symphony band. Yes, 10 years. WCCB, 3 semesters, and pep band only 1 semester. There was something about a hockey puck, I think, at one game or something. Yeah, I think. So, anyway, his favorite memory is from the athletic pep band when he apparently put the drums in the back of somebody's vehicle that looked like mine. It wasn't my vehicle. And he wants to pay off his student loans and then sleep. Next up is Marjorie Schaefer from Lake. And Marjorie will have a degree in criminal justice, and she's been pretty active with us. She's played flute in the FSU summer band for 1 semester, 5 semesters with the WCCB, 5 semesters with the pep band, 6 semesters with the symphony band, and flute and bass guitar with the FSU jazz band for three semesters. And her favorite memory is going to all of our away championship games, and as of yet, she has no set plan, she tells me.
We'll be back.
And now I'd like to invite Dr. Durst to come back to the stage and introduce the first of our 3 speakers. Dr. Durst.
Thank you, Donna. I'm really honored tonight, or this afternoon, to have a few members of the Emeriti staff and faculty with us from the College of Pharmacy, and those include Dr. Woody Newman and Mrs. Mary Main. Thank you for being here. In addition, we have our recognized Emeriti faculty member, Rick Holt, and just a round of applause for all 3 of them. Dr. Halt is both a 1968 graduate of the College of Pharmacy and a member of the College of Pharmacy's Emeriti faculty. As a student in the college, my own experience, and that of truly thousands of other students, was really enriched by Dr. Halt's outstanding teaching, his knowledge, but also his humor. Then later, as a faculty member, joining the College of Pharmacy, I became his colleague, and I found Dr. Halt to be an influential mentor and an outstanding academician, as have many of his other colleagues. Through Dr. Halt's tenure in the college, he has been a guiding influence in several significant transitions, which is a constant theme of the college's history that he will more fully highlight. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Rick Halt.
Thank you, Dean. I first came to the newly renamed Ferris State College in the fall of 1963 as an 18-year-old college freshman in what was then the fairly new 5-year pharmacy program. As my colleague Jim and I were discussing it, I think I was the 4th year of that 5-year program. Because of my interest in science and math, I had been advised during my senior year in high school to start my college education in pharmacy, as I would get a good grounding of core courses in basic chemistry and biology, as well as math and physics, which I could then apply to any number of science disciplines if I wished to choose a different major. But once I got involved in pharmacy, I chose to stay. Since that fall day 56 years ago, and I will tell you that I'm anal retentive enough to have divided that by 125, and that's 45% of the years that we celebrate today. Pharmacy education at Ferris and nationally has, in one word, been dynamic. I will just highlight some of the changes that have occurred. Probably the biggest change was a paradigm shift. The shift was from a product-based combination of business profession, which was highly dependent upon chemistry, that is, the compounding and manufacture of various drug products by pharmacists, which necessitated passing such courses as drug assay, pharmaceutical preparations, inorganic and organic pharmaceutical chemistry, and compounding. This profession then changed to a patient-oriented one, more dependent upon biological and medical sciences, and those courses such as pathophysiology and various clinical sciences. I can remember sitting in Pearson Auditorium in the Science Building during the annual pharmacy seminar while I was an undergraduate. This is a one-day gathering of all the pharmacy students and staff. And I listened to nationally recognized speakers heralding the benefits of this coming new emphasis on what they called clinical pharmacy. However, in order to facilitate this dynamic paradigm shift from product to patient, as well as to incorporate the explosive advances in instructional technologies, the curriculum, the staffing, and the physical plant itself have all undergone significant and numerous changes. As I mentioned earlier, in 1963, Ferris was a 5-year program, followed by almost 1 year of what was called internship, working in a pharmacy out somewhere in the state, supervised by a registered pharmacist. And you had to do this before you could sit for the State Board of Licensure exam. Then, while I was in graduate school, I believe, in order to lower student costs, Ferris Pharmacy became a 2-3 program. That is, 2 years of a standardized pre-pharmacy curriculum, which could be completed at any number of community or 4-year colleges, thus saving the student room and board and possibly travel expenses, followed by 3 years of Ferris Pharmacy. Competition for entrance into the program after 2 years of college resulted in a higher academic quality of pharmacy student, as well as an increase in the proportion of female students, which in my class was about 12%, and it generally went as high as 50% of the incoming class. In the 80s, there was a movement nationally to standardize the one-year experiences of the internships or clerkships by placing them under the direction of colleges of pharmacy. And the idea then grew of lengthening pharmacy education to a 2-year pre-pharmacy, 4-year pharmacy, or a 6-year degree to incorporate this idea. It started gaining recognition around the country. The graduate would then obtain a Doctor of Pharmacy or PharmD degree, which up until this time was only awarded to students who completed 2 years of clinical studies and research above their 5-year Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy. In 1990, Ferris, which along with some other colleges of pharmacy had been resisting this extra year, mainly because of reservation on the part of national chain store pharmacies who felt that their pharmacy employees did not need the additional year, Ferris instituted what we called a dual degree program, whereby a student at the end of their 2nd year of pharmacy studies could enroll in either a 1-year more BS or a 2-year more PharmD program. In addition, the 2-year PharmD option was structured such that we were encouraging recent bachelor's graduates who so desired to return to Ferris to receive what we called an add-on PharmD. This lasted about a decade until a national push to have all pharmacy students go 6 years and graduate with a universal PharmD resulted in national organizations of pharmacy to call for the institution of such a degree, the so-called All PharmD. Ferris's first All PharmD class was admitted in 2000. The program then became a 2-2-2 program, 2 years of pre-pharmacy, 2 years of basic didactic pharmacy education in Big Rapids, and 2 years of experiential clinical instruction, generally headquartered in Grand Rapids, but with sites and faculty all over the state. In 1963, pharmacy was housed in the Science Building, just the east-west half of the present building, that half which faces the University Center. And pharmacy shared that building with the basic undergraduate chemistry, biology, microbiology, and physics programs in what was then the School of General Education. During my undergraduate 5 years, the north-south wing of the Science Building was built, doubling the number of faculty offices and classrooms available, thus allowing pharmacy to take over the old wing where all pharmacy was housed. By the time I returned to Ferris after my graduate training, the present pharmacy building had been completed in 1972 in its original configuration. Since my arrival as a faculty member in 1976, there have been at least 3 major renovations of various portions of the building to accommodate the advances in instructional technologies and the curricular shifts that I mentioned previously. In fact, if you go to that side of the campus, you'll notice there is another major renovation ongoing even as we meet here today. In addition, since about 1990, Ferris Pharmacy has had to rent, lease other facilities for clinical or medical instruction necessary for PharmD classes. This was done either in Grand Rapids or for a brief period in Kalamazoo. At present, the last 2 years of the program are mostly based at the Center for Innovative Learning and Research at 25 Michigan Avenue in Grand Rapids, which is across from the Van Andel Institute and Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. In 1963, staffing for the Ferris State College School of Pharmacy was a dean, an assistant dean for curriculum and students, 2 secretaries, and 8 faculty members, one of which Steve has alluded to, Dr. Norwood Newman. To match the growth in the curriculum, particularly in the experimental clinical area, staffing has also increased substantially to comply with national accreditation standards for a program of Ferris's size. The college now has a dean, that would be Stephen Durst, 3 assistant deans, 4 directors, 5 secretaries, and 48 faculty divided into 2 departments. Yes, pharmacy education has changed dynamically over the last 50 years, and Ferris Pharmacy has changed and grown right along with it. Curriculum, facilities, and staffing have all evolved to meet the needs of those students who wish to become what we call now the drug chemical expert of the healthcare team for the patient's benefit. My guess is that the profession, and indeed medical science itself, will continue to evolve, and that Ferris State University College of Pharmacy will continue to evolve right along with it. Thank you for your time.
And thank you, Dr. Holt. Pharmacy at Ferris began in 1893, just 9 years after Woodbridge Ferris founded his institute. Now, a year earlier, in 1892, the renowned Czech composer Antonín Dvořák arrived in the United States to become the director of a brand new National Conservatory of Music in New York City. While there, the New York Philharmonic commissioned Dvořák to compose a symphony. He began envisioning the symphony while vacationing in a small Czech community of Spillville, Iowa. Now, that symphony, which today is known as Symphony No. 9 from the New World, was premiered in 1893 in Carnegie Hall. The fourth finale movement begins with an agitated 2-note theme, which today resembles John Williams' theme from the movie Jaws. A heroic march theme ensues, followed by a much calmer melody. The middle portion features a 3-note theme that you will easily recognize as Three Blind Mice. Now, during our performance of this finale movement, you'll see a series of slides depicting the early history of the FSU College of Pharmacy. And so now we invite you to enjoy Finale from Dvořák's New World Symphony, as performed by both bands and the orchestra.
And we're about to commence here with our third and final section of acknowledging our graduating senior students. And first up is Caitlin Hain, and we'll let Dr. Skornia talk about Caitlin.
Well, I've sat next to Caitlin for 4 years in the band, and she's just a wonderful person. She is from Whitehall, and she will have a Bachelor of Science degree in graphic design. She has 8 semesters with the WCCB, 8 semesters with the Symphony Band. It was a pleasure sitting next to you in the section all those years. Her favorite memory is performing John Barnes Chance's Korean folk song, and she'll be pursuing a career in graphic design.
Next up is Rachel Krahulik, who you'll hear from a little bit, on the Barry sax, although she plays lots of different saxophones. She's originally from Lansing. She's spent 7 semesters with the Symphony Band, 10 semesters with the WCCB. That's because she's in pharmacy school. And a total of 17 semesters. Among her favorite memories are playing in the holiday saxophone quartets, especially with Tony Weglars, who we remember passed away about 1 year ago, right after this concert last year. They're a wonderful man. And her plans include continuing with her pharmacy studies in Grand Rapids and eventually becoming a pharmacist. Congratulations, Rachel. And next up is Megan Newland. Megan is from Blissfield. She has been playing clarinet and even percussion occasionally with lots of groups, with 8 semesters with the WCCB, 8 with the Symphony Band, and 2 with our orchestra. And her favorite memories include playing Frank DeKelly's Rest to honor Tony Weglars, which was done this past fall. And her future plans include being a volunteer for an English teacher in Chile through the English Open Doors program. So congratulations to Megan.
And next is Morgan Payne, Principal Cello. She'll be receiving a Master's of Business Administration, and she will also have an Advanced Certificate of Performance Metrics. She's from Riley Center and has had, as cello, 1 semester with the FSU Summer Band, 12 semesters with the West Central Chamber Orchestra, and her favorite memory is apparently when I tell musical anecdotes, the first violins chuckle. So she enjoys watching them chuckle. And she will be pursuing a position in process and product analysis, and she wishes to continue her education.
As you see, we're losing a lot of great people here. We're not losing them, we're graduating them, but we're going to be missing them from our ensembles in the future here. Our final graduating student is Ben Withy from the percussion section. Ben is from Charlotte, which when I first came here, it looked like Charlotte to me, but it's pronounced Charlotte in Michigan. He has been helped out with the orchestra for 3 semesters. He's played 4 semesters in the Symphony Band. He's played 6 semesters in the WCCB, and he's played 8 semesters in the pep band. He's been section leaders of almost all of those for a total of 21 semesters of band activity. Among his favorite memories are traveling to the 2 national championship games with the pep band, and his future plans include getting a job in public relations and communications in healthcare or in gaming. So congratulations, Ben.
And once again, I'd like to invite Dr. Durst back to the stage to introduce our second speaker. Dr. Durst.
Thank you again, Donna. Our second speaker this afternoon from the College of Pharmacy is Mr. Jim Bach, a 1966 graduate of the college. I've known Jim for truly over 2 decades, but recently, only in the last couple of years, have become more aware of his notable interest in the arts and the role it played in his time here as a student at Ferris. He represents what is so often found in pharmacy students, exceptional academic skills coupled with varied interests in a wide range of areas. Jim's successful career has been marked by his unending energy and passion for innovative approaches to pharmacy practice. Jim will share with you his experience as both a musician and student pharmacist while here in the 1960s. Jim, please join me at the podium.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm indeed honored that Stephen asked me to help participate in this event. I'm very excited about the music here. It's just been wonderful so far, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful as we continue. I'd like to share kind of an anecdote of my decision to come to Ferris and how that all occurred and to enter pharmacy school. In 1960, my brother David graduated from Ann Arbor High School. David decided he wanted to study electronics and came to Ferris Institute at that time in the Trade and Industrial program of electronics. He also had played the clarinet for 14 years before coming. Started at a very young age, enjoyed music all his life. So he decided to join the marching band. That's where he met Dr. Dashoff. He was the band director at that time. When he found out that Dr. Dashoff actually was a violinist, he started talking to him about me. I was a year behind Dave, and I was a junior in high school when Dave entered Ferris. Dashoff got excited because there were no string ensembles or orchestras at Ferris at that time. So he kept pumping David for more information. And of course, my brother cooperated dearly. I had already decided by the time I was a junior that I wanted to study pharmacy. I had grown up with some ailments that enabled me to become quite enamored with my pharmacist, so to speak, and he was a very pleasant person. He was a graduate of the University of Michigan. Having lived in Ann Arbor all my life, I was also quite familiar with what Michigan may offer a student of pharmacy and what it entailed. One day that fall, after David had arrived at Ferris, he asked me, "Hey, Jim, I'm gonna come home this weekend for my first visit, and would you drive me back?" At that time, Ferris students, if you were a freshman, could not own a vehicle or have one on campus, that is. So I said, "Oh, sure." And he said, "Well, we can go back a little early and I can show you around and show you what a great school this is. And you'll notice, how compact the campus is and all of that." So I'm wondering what's he got on his mind here. So I went. Well, little did I know, we had a meeting with Dr. Dashoff. That man was very endearing and very sincere. He kind of told me that there weren't any programs at Ferris at this point, but that he loved string music and orchestral music also. And that's what I was brought up in. I had to make up a decision. Where am I going to go for my education? Am I going to go to the U of M? Or am I going to come to Ferris Institute? I certainly was impressed with Dr. Dashoff. Not that he was pharmacy faculty at all, but he gained a warm spot in my heart. Well, I loved the idea of going to Ferris. So I had to lay out some criteria. I'm kind of a person that looks at the pros and cons of a variety of things before I plunge headlong into it. So my decision had 4 aspects that I looked at. Number 1, my brother was at Ferris. He would be there for my freshman year if I went to Ferris. Well, that was kind of a plus, wasn't it? I have a direct family member that helped me get through that first year of change, so to speak, where you learn to become more self-sufficient and find how easy it is to get in trouble if you're not careful. I think I got to give Ferris number 1. That criteria, that's a Ferris point right there. The second criteria I looked at was the nature of the education in pharmacy. Dr. Holt referred to what it was like back then. It was a very personalized education. Class sizes were in the 20s and 30s at the most. There weren't the large lecture halls that you went to. You got a very personalized educational environment. Also, it focused on a retail environment of pharmacy practice. In those days, that was probably 96% of all pharmacists were involved in a retail practice environment. The rest were in research, some of them went on to graduate school and then into research, and some were at hospitals and institutional practice sections. So I'm beginning to think, throughout my youth, I always had a job. I loved to work. And every one I had was somehow or other dealing directly with the public. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. My success in those jobs was totally dependent on learning and developing a very people-pleasing atmosphere and interaction with my customers. That certainly sounded to me like that would be relative to retail pharmacy, and indeed it was. So there's Ferris. My gosh. Michigan was more of a clinical pioneer in pharmacy, but most of their graduates were institutionally involved in the practice of pharmacy. So Ferris won that war. The third criteria was the nature of that education being so personal. At Michigan, in those days, the undergraduate school was a school of numbers. The classes were huge. You really, I felt, had to be a little more mature to succeed there. It's a highly competitive environment, and you were not going to get a lot of personal attention. I was 17 when I entered Ferris in 1961, still growing up. The final thing that sold me on going to Ferris was location. If I went to the U of M, I would probably live at home, and that would delay my learning the skills to be out on my own and to become more self-sufficient. And I thought that I needed to get involved with that, the sooner the better. Ferris won that war, and I'm glad they did. I entered Ferris. Soon, 3 weeks or so after being here, I get a phone call from Dr. Dashoff inviting me to his home on Sunday for dinner. And he says, oh, by the way, I think we'll have some fun. Would you like to play some Mozart violin duets? And I jumped at the chance. We had a lot of fun. He had promised me that he thought and felt that with 3,000 plus students at Ferris at that time, there must be other folks that have string musical backgrounds. And he was going to do whatever he could do to seek them out, and we would form some type of a string ensemble, whether it be a trio or a string quartet. That's where we felt we needed to start. Fall 1963, the Pharmac 4 String Quartet made its first appearance at Ferris. A promise well kept, Dasho. Thank you. Today, we can easily see the same principles of providing personal education and personal involvement with students in all aspects of their experience here. Part of that is the belief that an academic education may be better balanced by direct exposure to the arts and music, and it is encouraged and available for all students. That was a quote from the president of Ferris's recent letter on the attitude of the upper administration towards the educational process. After all, when you start looking at music and you start looking at science, there's not a lot of difference. The sciences we deal with in pharmacy are that of the body. Well, the body has a rhythm. It has a dynamic. It has molecules that vibrate at certain frequencies. And I can go on and on. The parallel to music goes on and on. Today, Ferris still exhibits that kind of enthusiasm for the blending of arts and music. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the front of your program, you look down toward the bottom where it says student recognition, student recognition programs. There's a name that's going to pop right out. That name is Dr. Dashoff and Ruth Dashoff will be here, or not be here, but there will be a presentation of the Outstanding Musician Scholarship Awards in their honor. Dr. Dashoff certainly believed that the marriage of music with academic studies formed a positive synergistic relationship. His example and wisdom still are helping guide Ferris State University and its educational processes. The decision I made back in the fall of 1960, and while still a senior in high school, to attend Ferris, study pharmacy, and bring my violin with me was simply one of the best of my lifetime. Thank you, Ferris State University. You will always be very dear to me. Thank you.
Continuing with the theme, Pharmacy in America, around the turn of the last century, drugstore soda fountains became an ever-present fixture on Main Street, USA, and they remained popular throughout most of the 20th century. Do you remember sipping on those refreshing drinks that cost a whopping nickel or a dime? Well, the American ragtime style reached its heyday during the same time as the popularity of the soda fountain drugstores. Piano ragtime, as it was primarily established by Scott Joplin, it featured a syncopated right-hand melody accompanied by a quick oompa in the left. In recent years, Jack Bulla fashioned a ragtime-inspired piece called Saxophonia, and from the title, you can surmise that saxophones are featured. And indeed they are. And now to perform Jack Bulla's ragtime nostalgic piece, Saxophonia, please join me in welcoming all of our saxophonists from both the WCCB and the Symphony Band.
Okay, we're going to do our first set of awards here, and this could be a relatively large group of them. These are the Susan and Ernie Wengist Awards. They've been going on for several years, and this award is due to the generosity of Ernie Wenger, who is here this evening. I'll acknowledge him in just a moment. He and his wife, longtime members of the band. Susan was the principal alto sax player and sat next to Dale for many years. They were in a tragic car accident, the both of them, and Susan did not survive. Ernie did miraculously, and in her memory, he established the scholarship fund, which he is providing some funds to help all the band students that he can. His ultimate goal is to raise enough money so that he can give free tuition to all of our band students. So we wish you good luck with that a lot. Right now, it's more of a token than anything, but it's something to acknowledge many of our band musicians for their dedication to our band program. And we have several awards. We keep getting more and more music endowment awards, which is just wonderful. So I'm going to ask the students as we read the names, and we're going to do it in alphabetical order, just come stand up in front of the band here, and we have certificates that we'll hand to you afterwards to save some time here. We have them right here on the podium, so we'll get them after the concert. But here we go. These are this year's recipients of the Wenger Scholarship Award. Kelly Bearer, Amanda Denby, Colton Demarest, Valerie Ekman, Lily Franklin,
Nadia Greenia, Rachel Greenia, Morgan Henderson, Caitlin Hain, and Avley Henschel.
Alicia Casper, Kayla Leach, Josh Madsen, Sarah McNeely, Greg Mulsoff,
Brandon Milby, Megan Newland, Elisha Parsons, Ryan Poole, Cassie Rathburn.
And our last group, Marjorie Schaefer, Jack Spicer, Connor Tetzloff, Clark Trickey, and Cam Wiseman. That's a whole lot of scholarships right there. Congratulations, guys. And while you're still standing, if we can get the house lights on, I believe Ernie is somewhere here in the center section here. Ernie Wenger, can you please stand up and we'll say thank you? Stage left. Where is he? There he is. Thank you. Thank you, Ernie. All right, thank you, everybody.
Evidence from ancient times exists that topical applications of moldy bread were used to combat bacterial infections. In the 16th century, John Parkinson first documented the use of mold to treat infection. However, it was not until 1928 when Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming accidentally discovered the penicillin mold that a new age in curing bacterial infections for medicine became a reality. A couple of years earlier, in 1926, American composer George Gershwin visited Paris for the first time. And he was so taken by the city that he was inspired to write An American in Paris, which was completed the same year that Fleming discovered penicillin. Gershwin's work depicts an American tourist strolling in the streets of the City of Lights, taking in all of the excitement. Now, maybe you'll envision a typical Parisian traffic jam on the Champs-Élysées as Gershwin incorporates taxi horns into his musical scoring. In the slower middle section that incorporates the American blues style, Gershwin suggests that the American tourist may be feeling a bit homesick, even a bit tipsy. All of Gershwin's musical elements come together for a triumphant conclusion of his musical trip to Paris. Here now is the WCCB and the Symphony Band performing Jim Kernow's arrangement of Gershwin's An American in Paris. And now I'd like to invite to the front of the stage Kelly Bear, president of the Delta Omega chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi, FSU's honorary band fraternity, to present its annual awards, including the College of Arts and Science Leadership Scholarships and the Kappa Kappa Psi Outstanding Brother of the Year. Kelly.
Hi. I had no idea I was going to be up here doing this. I have absolutely nothing prepared. Could all of the brothers in the band fraternity please come up to the front of the stage? Some of the things that we do as brothers in the Kappa Kappa Psi National Honorary Band Fraternity are hold fundraisers to help raise money for the bands, to repair band items, or purchase new things, purchase music. And we also are a great family with each other. Our outstanding Brother of the Year is Benjamin Withy, who is right over there. Ben has been our president for the last 2 years, and he has done a wonderful job with leadership. I look forward to filling his shoes over the next academic year. I want to thank all the brothers for their service, especially the graduating ones. We are going to miss you. We look forward to seeing you at our alumni picnic and other events. Thank you very much to all of the brothers for all the work that you do and for being a wonderful support system to the bands.
And again, I'd like to invite Dr. Durst to the lectern and to introduce our last speaker, Dr. Durst.
Again, thank you, Donna, and I'm very pleased to introduce our final College of Pharmacy speaker, Ms. Rachel Krahulik. Rachel epitomizes today's student pharmacists, deeply committed to their studies in the basic and applied sciences, and often gifted with talents and abilities that go well beyond the classroom. Their engagement in what we commonly refer to as extracurricular activities while successfully handling the rigors of pharmacy academics has constantly amazed me. Rachel, as one of our musicians today, represents the future of the college and the profession. It's her commitment to balancing her studies and personal interests that initially led me to ask her to be part of today's program. But I understand that her own research has revealed additional qualifications for her role. Rachel, if you'll please join me at the podium. A round of applause to welcome Rachel.
Hello, I am very excited to sit here and talk to you today, mainly because I've been over there for 5 years and they haven't given me a microphone yet. I'm going to share with you something today I don't normally talk about, or most people don't know about me, but I am actually, well, will be when I graduate, a 6th generation pharmacist. And the 5th generation to graduate from Ferris College of Pharmacy. This is something I really only found out very recently, thanks to Dr. Google. My great-great-great-grandfather, William Spade, came to Michigan in 1884 to start Spade's Drugstore in Bloomingdale. His son Emerson then went on to take over his business after he finished his program at Ferris, of course. His son, Paul, my great-grandfather, then went on to own a drugstore and soda fountain in Paw Paw, Michigan in the 1940s. This is a very actual personal anecdote for me because my grandpa used to joke that the only reason my grandma dated him was because she got free ice cream at the soda fountain. I think that's my family. On the other hand, I am a first-generation musician. My family will attest that most of us cannot hold a tune, let alone play an instrument. And when I came to Ferris, I was so happy that I can continue to play saxophone and get my pharmacy degree. And a lot of my friends kind of, let's say my pharmacy friends kind of poke fun at me for being a band nerd. Maybe some of my band friends kind of poke fun at me for being a pharmacy student. Never, never. And, they don't really have much in common, but I think they do share a similar stigma. Both kind of as boring, maybe old-fashioned. With music, think my friends will be like, Beethoven, like why would I want to listen to that? I'll fall asleep. But I hope we've seen today that music has changed a lot since German Dance No. 2, which is very delightful, by the way. But you just heard American in Paris by Gershwin, and although they're both concert band pieces, they're entirely different. And as far as, pharmacy, a lot of people think of pharmacists as pill pushers, as someone behind a counter, not really talking to anyone, just sitting there counting. And that may have been true at a time, but a lot of pharmacists who are graduating nowadays will never count a pill. And they will be out there counseling patients, doing one-on-one. My good example for how much pharmacy has changed, my great-grandfather Paul, one of the main things he dispensed at his pharmacy soda fountain was sugar pills, or placebos. They came in 3 colors, red, yellow, and green. The red worked the best because the red dye was the most expensive. Obviously, pharmacy has changed a lot since that. And pharmacy at Ferris has changed a lot since then. As one of our previous speakers mentioned, it used to be that most pharmacists who graduated would go on to be in a retail pharmacy. Now, a lot of people go on to a variety of different programs and settings and are really valued members of many healthcare teams. At Ferris, we have 2 wonderful programs that have been here really since the beginning. We mentioned earlier that Woodbridge Ferris himself was the first pharmacy instructor. And many people don't know that Helen Ferris, his wife, was actually the first music teacher. So they both have really strong roots at Ferris. And I think one of the reasons why they've stayed so long is both the professions in general and the programs here have really adapted to change and been able to endure the test of time. My past relatives and Woodbridge Ferris himself could have never guessed that their great-great-something granddaughter would be standing here in front of you today, just as much as Mozart could have guessed iPods or, frankly, a pharmacy band concert. I am a pharmacist, or will be. I am a musician, and most importantly, I am someone who gets to carry the legacy of both the pharmacy and the music programs here with me wherever I go for the rest of my life. And I am very grateful. Thank you.
Well, now that we've recognized our graduating seniors in their final concert as students with the FSU music program, let's welcome them to the status of band alumni with the playing of our alma mater, Ferris Fidelity, and played by all of our musicians and conducted by senior Andrew Hartung and junior Jack Spicer. Both Andrew and Jack are student conductors with the FSU acclaimed athletic pep band. Will you join me in welcoming the 2 conductors?
Okay, we're here to award some final awards. The first ones we're going to award are brand new ones. It's called the S. Eugene Byshinsky Musicians of Promise Award. This is money that came to the university completely unexpected about 2 years ago, and did some research on who Byshinsky was, and he worked here at Ferris, and he was the dean of the School of Technical and Applied Arts, and was college vice president here as well. And I understand he was also an attorney for the university. Doc Beard, who's playing euphonium with our group, actually got to know him a bit and shared some wonderful stories about him and his wife that were very engaged in the community. Gene's brother, Wilfred, was an engineer for GM back in the 1950s, was one of the people that developed the spark plugs for jet engines and airline engines. And I think he must have made a small fortune because, or maybe not so small, he ended up endowing scholarships in his family members' names all over Canada, the United States. And we ended up with about a $75,000 donation to award to students. And so this is the first year that we've had the interest generated off of that amount. And we decided amongst our music faculty to award 6 scholarships from those funds. And one for each of the 6 musical ensembles we have, our concert choir, our jazz band, pep band, WCCB, orchestra, and symphony band. What else did I miss? That's it. Okay, so this year, we will announce them from the groups that we're directing. So Dale, go ahead and start, if you would, please.
For the FSU Athletic Pep Band, the scholarship winner is Andrew Hartung.
For the West Central Concert Band, the WCCB, Rachel Krahulik.
And for the West Central Chamber Orchestra, Caleb Shear, violin. And for the Symphony Band, Megan Newland.
You heard some mention a while ago. Well, first of all, let's give these 4 very deserving students a round of applause. All right, now we have our Ruth and Dacho Dachoff Award. You heard mentioned quite a bit about Dacho earlier. I called him yesterday to let him know that we had our concert today, and he was already aware of it. When I sent out email notices about the concerts, he's usually the only one who responds, and he responds immediately. His comment to me was, "Thank you for the invitation, but at age 97, I'm just slowing down a bit now." And his wife is also still living. She is in a facility down in Grand Rapids, and he lives in an apartment right next to it, or is part of it actually, and visits with her every day. And he and Ruth and their family established this Outstanding Musician Award shortly after my arrival, about my 2nd or 3rd year here. And it's a way of recognizing people that have just made outstanding musical contributions and musical leadership contributions over the years. And he has it dedicated to the band and/or orchestra. And so this year we're going to be awarding one of each awards here to 2 very deserving people. I'll let Dale go first.
For the orchestra, Sarah Massey.
And this year's band recipient of the Dutchess Award is Ben Withy. He's going to expect you to write him about what you've been doing. Okay, and I think now we're on to our final closing remarks with Dean Durst. Steve.
Thank you, Scott. This has been an incredible program, and certainly looking at its end, I have just been very excited about this. As we started planning this, I met with Drs. Cohen and Skornia, and they just gave me a tremendous list of options and pieces that could be considered. When we got to that, it seemed like there was just one thing missing, one element to be added. So to commemorate the college's 125th anniversary, I called our own extraordinary musician and composer, Mr. Harry Dempsey, and just asked him a very simple question. Would you prepare a piece, would you be interested in preparing a piece that would celebrate the anniversary of the college? There were a few conversations, Harry thought about it, but then really the next thing I knew, there was a CD with music accompanying it on my desk. It said the staff of Asclepius on it. I looked that up and of course realized that was a symbol for medicine dating back to ancient Greece. I listened to that first electronic draft, if you will, of that piece and thought it was an incredible closer for this concert. So without further ado, we close today's concert with the world premiere of The Staff of Asclepius. My sincerest appreciation to Harry Dempsey for this masterful composition. Please join us at the end of this piece in the lobby for light refreshments and to meet these great pharmacy representatives as well as Harry, who's with us today. And most importantly, thank you for attending today's celebration, the great music, and the incredible history of the College of Pharmacy. Thank you.